What's up, everybody? Sean and D-Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys had yourselves a great week. Getting ready to enjoy the weekend. We are back here to talk about episode 3 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters, titled Secret. But before we jump into the quick episode review, if you're new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button, comment below. You can also check out the gaming channel, the Nerd Talk podcast, Kick, Twitch, Rumble, all that you can find down in the description below. But other than that, let's jump into episode 3. So episode 3 of Monarch Legacy of Monsters felt more of a character development type of episode than really anything else. We kind of pick up with Keiko and Lee after the end of episode 2, where Titan X emerges, starts wreaking havoc, and we do see the little scarabs. And I guess it's good to say, like, whenever you see the red of Titan X, it's probably like it's in a hostile kind of mode. But then when you see the blue and everything, it's kind of a chill, maybe not chill, but it's kind of like a non-threatening type of pose. But that's basically it. Well, that's basically it that we get of Titan X. Monarch is currently docked because they got to get engineers on board to repair, see what the damage is to the engines before they can go after Titan X. Apex Cybernetics comes in. They are upgrading systems, but they're temporarily taking control of Outpost 18, despite Tim basically saying, why, why? It doesn't make sense. We have Director Barris. Basically was like, they have the equipment that we need to track this Titan before it becomes public knowledge, and we have another G-Day situation. And also, again, turn over Lee Shaw and Keiko Randa. And hopefully this time, he basically's like, hopefully this time this message doesn't get garbled. And Tim helps them get off the boat, because the plan is, I'm curious to see if this is somewhat of a prototype to what we get with King of the Monsters, and the and the device that's used there to mimic Titan frequency to get them to do a specific response. So the plan is to go to Tokyo, or more like Shibuya, because he has a prototype device what they're going to do is take it and try to mimic the scarab's frequency that alerted Titan X, and they're going to try to use that to move Titan X to a certain part of the ocean, just away from civilization. That way, no harm comes to civilians. So that is the plan. This episode is really, like I said, all about character development and situations. You have Lee and Keiko back in 1956, who they basically still have feelings for each other. They were able to get away from the villagers because Keiko took pictures. They wanted a camera, but there was also a good chance they probably weren't going to let them leave alive. So, but they were able to get away. Keiko got injured. I mean, they both got injured, but they still have feelings for each other. And obviously, Keiko writes a letter late in the episode telling him that, like, I always love you, but Billy has my heart. We can't ever do this again. And it would destroy everything and hurt the man we both care about. You have a situation with Keiko and Hiroshi, because while Lee and Keiko are at his office trying to grab these little blueprints for the sound device, she sees their photos of him Hiroshi with Kate and her mother, and then Kentaro and his mother. And Kate's like, Keiko's just kind of like, is Hiroshi, was he widowed, divorced? And Lee's just kind of like, it's not really my story to tell or anything like that. You have Tim and Cora. Basically, Tim is trying to get Cora to, like, find out what Apex Cybernetics is up to and things like that. So Cora is able to get in and come to the realization that they've been tracking them this entire time. Now we got Kate, who is still going through her um, trauma journey. She arrives back home. I really liked it too because there was like a cool shot of like as she's arriving in San Francisco. You can see in the background of the city where grass has and plantation has kind of grown where the radiation of Godzilla and the Mutos happened in 2014's Godzilla. I always like that kind of little aspect of the Titans. Their radiation basically help produces. You saw some of that, and I think in King of the Monsters as well. Um, but Kate makes it home, reunites with her mom. I guess her dad too, or stepdad. And they just like so. You just talk about like how she's been and everything, what she's been doing. She says she's only been gone a few days, so I guess this just takes place over a couple of days. This both season 1 and season 2. And even Keiko's mother or Kate's mother is kind of like, maybe you should meet up with some of your teacher friends and all that. I'm sure they'll be glad to see you and all that. Keiko does it. I keep saying Keiko because I'm there. Kate does do that, but she kind of changes her mind. She goes to a dance club, meets up with an old girlfriend of hers, I guess girlfriend. But but the whole party is sadly interrupted because everybody gets a Titan alert on their phone, and it's basically out. The news is out that Titan X is moving throughout the Pacific. You see everybody just kind of like panicking, and I don't remember the girl's name that Kate's with, but she's just kind of like, do we have like an exit strategy, or like a evacuation plan and stuff like that, which I really like. Like, you're in this world full of giant monsters, and you just had an experience not too long ago with Godzilla and the Mutos battling it out in the city. It makes sense in this type of world, and we've seen some of that too throughout the monsterverse of the governments and stuff like that, creating shelters, evacuation plans for if a Titan appears. Here's what you do, and because the little taxi even had a little Godzilla sticker on the window, probably with some information and stuff like that for you to know. But yeah, Kate it's just the third episode in a row where Kate is basically just going through her trauma journey. She blames herself, and even Hiroshi says to Kentaro, "It's like Kate's family." She blames herself for everything that happened. She is, and she kind of makes her way back to kind of like on the shore of where the Golden Gate Bridge is, where her first trauma experience happened with Godzilla on that bridge, and she's going through it. It's rough. And then I'm trying to think what else. Let me see. I have it up here. And then you have Kintaro, no, yeah, Hiroshi and Keiko basically just talking, and she's just like, she wants to know about the pictures, like what happened, and Hiroshi's just like, he loved two women, and he gave into his heart, and like he's just like, you wouldn't understand that, but when we come to find out, she would understand that. She had the same situation. She loved two different men. She loved Bill and she loved Lee. um um and so she's been in those same shoes as that, and then we get to kind of the realization that, well, the device has been stolen, because we do see Cora looking at live video footage of the device being stolen. Um, and it just comes because it took Hiroshi 6 years to build this thing, and now it's gone. And Keiko's like, well, we could go back to Monarch, and Hiroshi's just kind of like, he just lets it all out, talk about how Bill spent more time chasing monsters than being a dad. And he was like, you know why I have this accent? Because he left, and he left me was Mimi, Like he left his 11-year-old son and never was seen from again. And Keiko's just sitting. She's just like, he wouldn't do that. There must be a reason. And then we in the episode we get a flashback of a young Hiroshi kind of sharpening his knife that he got a sharpener out of Lee's army trunk. He's just sharpening his knife, and Bill finds the letter that Keiko wrote to Lee, and the episode ended there. Something I did not think about at the time was that somebody on Twitter talked about was it's actually really, really sad for Bill Randa, because in Kong Skull Island he gets killed by the skull crawler. What's really sad about it is he'll never find out that that Keiko and Lee were still alive. Like he would never find that out. They probably. I'm curious to know if they know what happened to him on the island. I would assume they would. I'm curious if Monarch would have kept that information or not. So it was crazy. It's great. It's really sad to think about it. He died without knowing that the two people he cared about the most were still alive, and it's crazy. But yeah, so episode 3 was kind of not as impactful as the first 2 episodes. Definitely felt more of like a character kind of driven episode. Obviously, I look forward to seeing what the next episode is, because we still got a lot to go. We still haven't seen Godzilla yet, and we haven't seen Godzilla fighting Titan X. We still got to see Kong fighting Titan X. So there's still a lot more stuff to come in that regard. So, but guys, that is relatively it. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. If you are new to the channel, like I mentioned at the beginning, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button, comment below. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Y'all have a good one.